So indeed, this is a world revolution coming. We are in 2021 and it's including 2022. This is a World War 2.0 or 3.0, who knows? But I'm going to show you a bunch of countries' natal chart. I'm not going to explain every transit, but to show you through the main and my insights as I'm getting the very short description to what seems to come. And we all need to take it in mind. And everything could change as we are dealing with Uranus, with Aquarius, very unpredictable. Things could unfold in very different ways, but the tension is potential and written in the universe. So let's begin. And we are actually preparing for the Great Reset of 2021. We already could see this from 2020 with Pluto and Saturn conjunction in Capricorn in 22 degrees. As I spoke about it all 2019 and since 2018. So we are starting with China. This is the natal chart of the CCP that born in 1949. So indeed, the Saturn and Pluto conjunction met exactly on Jupiter of China in the 12th house, 22 degrees. And what surprised that the COVID erupted from China, from Wuhan. And this is so clear and written in the sky that this should come from there. And because China has a lot of planets and the South Node in the 8th house, they are pretty much financing the world and created a sort of dependency. And this should be related to exploding the debt or killing the economy of others, and whatever has to see with killing, as it's the 8th house. So what is coming in this June 10th, which is a solar eclipse in Gemini? And I'm going to show you all the countries around of this day of the solar annular eclipse of June 10, 2021, a new moon in Gemini. We are seeing that Mercury will be retrograde in 20 degrees together with the event of the eclipse. So definitely it has to see with information, with data, and with trade and economy, okay, and with currencies. So what is it? What is activating? I pretty much seeing that the power is with China, and this is very much favoring them to do any sort of manipulation, what they are actually planning to do in the world. And actually Neptune in and Mercury in 13, 14 degrees and are receiving a positive aspect from Saturn. So this is the plan of them, that they are pretty much what the conspiracy theories are actually speaking, and this is coming from the CCP plan to reset the economy and to shift the center of control, according to astrology. We're looking on Argentina, and don't try to make a sense why I chose the order of the countries I'm introducing. This random check after I organized for myself and uploaded it as it happened. So what happens in Argentina? I spoke years ago that Argentina will be a sort of refugee place that probably will enjoy from sort of a positive migration due to events that will happen in the world, and we start to see it happening already in the middle of 2021. We should remember that the last eclipse in 2020 was on Argentina and Chile. And what we are seeing is that Neptune is going to conjunct with Pluto of Argentina exactly around the 23, 24 degrees, and Chiron, which is in 12 degrees, ready to conjunct the ascendant. It's not going to be so smoothly there, but is a sort of a correction for what they suffered so far. It seems like a 0 point. This is like a reset, but they probably could heal the way that they were interacting with their currency, with the world. On the same time, we are seeing that Venus return in Cancer. So it seems like they are going to get some new status quo of maybe currency independency, or just finding a new way to self-sovereign themselves. It seems relatively positive to what I saw already happening in the rest of the world. It's like a default effect, like where to go. Also, we can see here, it's very interesting that is also happening in Venezuela. I'll show you later that Saturn is ready to conjunct with asteroid Eris. Okay. Also, their Saturn is in 23 degrees, which is speaking all this thing. Okay. But Eris is in 12 degrees and receiving the aspect from positive aspect from Chiron and Saturn. So this is about breaking free. It's a healing of breaking free, getting self-sovereignty due to different shift of interaction, and also they are experiencing a closure of evolution cycle of North Node return during this time. So I would say that Argentina is positive to what is supposed to happen into the next year, between middle of 2021 to 2022, and it could last even more than this. We are looking on Australia. Australia, very bad. Very bad. First of all, they have Mercury in 23 degrees. And 23 degrees is where Saturn and Pluto met. And it's happened also in the 12th house. And not surprising that they suffered from so much information, censor. And it was very brutal how people were prevented to speak freely. And we are seeing Pluto is here in this place, and still Pluto is ready to, in the next years, to go on the sun. Now, this is a crisis. This is a crisis of the identity of Australia and the way we knew it. This is a destroy also of the economy, to what I'm perceiving here. This is not new. This thing is also doing a positive aspect to Jupiter. So it's still a destroyment here of something, but on the same time, I'm seeing new opportunities to emerge from the middle of the country, maybe from the deserts of Australia, as Australia can offer more than just Sydney and Melbourne. But I think that the hope will be if people will go to the center of the country and not to the beaches area as most civilization is going. And all the identity of Australia is Sydney mostly and Melbourne. But with this identity, this is on the ascendant. All this happening is not good at all. Not good at all. The opportunities will appear as the North Node is passed already around those time in on Jupiter. Could be related to farming and to mining gold, maybe because of the gold mines. This will be the opportunities in Australia. Okay, let's move to Brazil. In Brazil, also good opportunities are coming. Brazil has a lot of resources. They have Ketu and Venus in the 10th house, but they were abused due to so many other regulations in the world and the USD, blah, blah. So there's also something that will last until the middle of 2023, until Pluto will rise on Pluto of Brazil. This is a construction time in Brazil. This is also a way of constructing a new sort of agreement there. Seems that they really want to or someone from outside will control them, or will start to create there a new epicenter of production of something, or maybe depending in Brazil for food and for other provides other merchandise to provide for the world. Brazil has opportunities, but seems to me constructed and managed by other. But still, Brazil has good things to offer relatively to what exists in the world, to what I'm seeing. So Argentina, Brazil, good places. It's like reminding that, like, Brazil could produce, if this is a war, in a case of a war, Brazil could produce the weapon, sort of a way. So it also will gain the money, will get income of something. Also, Brazil has gold as well. We are looking on Canada. Very bad. Very bad. Canada is experiencing Chiron coming on Pluto. This is very painful. This is deadly even in the 12th house. And Neptune is about to rise on Chiron as well. So it seems like a disaster. Like maybe hunger also could be possible, as Chiron is ruling the alimentation as well and healing. But seems that it could be very risky living in Canada. I also see here, as Pluto is in the 10th house, this is very strong control. Prime Minister there. And Venus on the day of the eclipse will interact with Uranus. And Canada really had born on very near to the new moon in Cancer, near to Uranus. So very interesting about Canada, considered to be a very comfortable, very safe place to be. But it could surprise and to revolutionize the comfort on the people. It's a transit. We needed to wait for a big transit, but look, this is Uranus coming on Pluto. So this is a revolution time. This is something that Canada convert to something different. This is a transformation time. And it's definitely related to the dollar, the Canadian dollar. And also we can see that Jupiter, that will be in Pisces, that is ruling the 12th house, will interact with Mercury and Mars. So could be violent there, and could be issued with money and hunger. This is the introduction of the energies. It's not going to be that comfortable as it used to be. And not to speak about weather, climate changes. We're looking on India. So India is warming up something, but is relatively positive. You will later understand which countries, seems to me, which block of countries are going to be the positive here. India is ready to complete a new story here when the North Node is about to cross the North Node in the next month. And we are seeing here, very important, that Saturn is going to oppose exactly Saturn and Pluto. This is so crazy. India born in 47, and 47 was a very historic year. Many countries born around this year, 47, 48, including Israel and Pakistan, and the end of the British Empire in the zone. And this is in Leo. This is about the empires. And just around this time, 13 degrees, Saturn Pluto. We just had Saturn Pluto in a Capricorn in January 2020, and we saw what happened. This is a war. This is a shift and change of the world organization. And when Saturn will oppose it, this is a new karma, a new story here, a new regime. And I feel, with the summary of what I'm perceiving from here, that is going to be relatively positive and to offer more opportunities to what will happen in the world. And it will be a confrontation or maybe an end of abuse. But it's going to be challenging in the beginning of it because of the opposition to Pluto. Very hard to predict what sort of this aspect to do. But on the same time, Chiron 12 degrees and Uranus 12 degrees are aspecting this area as well. So Uranus is doing a square to Pluto and Uranus. So of course it's difficult to predict to Pluto and Saturn. Okay, so it's very difficult to predict something that seems to come even from hidden enemies or any natural disasters that could help to the transformation of the zone and what wasn't completed, maybe something with the border of Pakistan and other, because it seems that the war that I'm going to summarize that is coming will be somehow touching around the zone of India. Okay? We will see. Iran. I was speaking about Iran many times in the last 2 years. All horrible aspects and difficulties in sky of the chart of Iran that born in 1925. Of course, it was the Islamic State. And look what is happening. Uranus in 12 degrees going to oppose Saturn. And on the same time, Saturn, which is on the Ketu, is squaring Uranus. This is shift. This is breaking reality. So no doubt that Iran here seems to be participating in chaos and in war, with Aries coming on, with asteroid Aries coming on Chiron as well, and on the same day of the eclipse, also we see Mars in the first house and opposing Pluto. This is very much chaotic, but I feel that Iran won't be directly participated in this. It's could come as a surprise that we cannot even imagine, as so much Uranus tension, Saturn squaring it in sky, and Saturn square to Saturn square to Saturn, and Saturn opposing Uranus in sky. On the same time, we're seeing that Venus is on Pluto, so this is related to economy destruction and what can come from civil revolution in Iran, that the entire control should break there. And I said 2 years ago that Iran seems to bring something positive to the world without noticing it, and it's very interesting to look because Uranus of Iran is in 22 degrees, the degree that Saturn and Pluto met in January 2020. And it did a good aspect to this. So Uranus is waiting for this tension. And Iran, just by the end of 2020, declared that Bitcoin is a legal country. So they don't care anymore about the restrictions of the United States. So the United States is very much in big threat to protect its currency. And United States is Cancer, so it's all about protection, and it's going to be here something that through the revolution of the civil unrest in Iran, and including other events that can happen, including natural disasters, could bring something not easily, very, very chaotic, but could bring something positive to the world and to the economy of the world because of something that is happening in Iran. And in Iran, there are a lot of Bitcoin miners. We are looking on Israel. June 10, 2021. Israel born in 48. And again, we see Saturn and Pluto together. Okay, they were more exact in 47, but also 48. It's like the similar to 2020, 2021. This was about a shift of regime change, all the countries that emerged around the world. But Israel going to have Uranus on the north node, and Israel born from the Holocaust. Chiron and Ketu in Scorpio, from destruction, from the nothing, from the Sphinx, the Phoenix, from the ashes, okay, to Taurus, to build something. And Israel seems to be participating here like a remote control on the land of someone else, I feel here. But it also could be a change of the territory, because Pluto is just entering to the fourth house, and Israel will not remain on the same borders as now. And interestingly enough, that I'm suspecting that Israel even going to grow, to be even bigger territory. So I can still check the countries of Jordan and Egypt and others, but this is like a shift of zones, of a construction of a new regime change. And with this Uranus on the north node, we can expect the most crazy things. And Mars will be on the top, on the MC. So this is very violent, but seems that works to the favor of Israel. Even that is very non-stable. And it could be a lot of destruction also on the territory, or some missiles to fall there too. But they will fight. And it could be aggressive with this solar eclipse happening on the 8th house. Very near on Mercury. So it's going to be, and on Uranus, a shift of currency as well. A shift of government as well. This is an election in March. Very interesting. And it's going to be sort of an agreement, sort of very strong alliances with Israel. So for sure, the United States is one of them. And now the Saudi Arabia that we're going to see as well, both. We're looking even in Japan. Japan is going also to have, in this solar eclipse, Uranus on Mercury. So again, a shift of currency, a shift of something, a revolution. This is a revolution happening. Also, this is an aspect square to Pluto. This is like also, it's not specifically on this date. It's like the coming months after this eclipse, what we are heading into 2022. It could be a very strong earthquake, very unexpected changes. Also could be a revive of Japan offering a great new technologies based on their own unique culture, but it will be very challenging. Before this, I feel that major changes. I don't sure. It's not seems to me like war. It seems to me like opportunities to heal and to make things better. So in general, I would say that also Japan is a good place. The entire world is going to feel the shockwaves of the changes that are coming. And Saturn will oppose both Pluto and Uranus. So as I'm saying, this is a restructuring of something very, very, very big, even in the politics. Maybe it will be something related also to the borders of Japan. The borders of Japan are going to change. So I hope that Japan will be conquered by North Korea or by China. Hopefully it will be the opposite. The Japan, which is more of a good guy, will take part of the rest sides, the borders, if needed. And also Japan has 22 degrees the sun, so they are going to be participator of the New World Order that started and also Mars that started in January 2020. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to be destruction involved. But I'm seeing something positive to come after this there. I want to look also in Lebanon because it's verifying something that I'm seeing on Israel, if in case that something is happening, and we're seeing that Chiron going to interact with Venus, opposing Venus, and this is indicating about the currencies, and we saw already the protest that happened in Lebanon and how the government really treated them. Lebanon relatively is remained neutral, but is mostly going to affect them economically. They are very weak already, but it's going to help them with the changes, with the consequences that will happen in the Middle East, to give them new opportunities to happen, to occur, and maybe it's going to be a peace, a sort of a forced peace between Israel and Lebanon, inshallah, hopefully. So, another thing that is happening is that Neptune, 23 degrees, will be squaring with Saturn. This is not easy at all, but this is on the 4th house and the 1st house. So yeah, maybe they are going to be forced for the peace, or to be sort of sharing a piece of border or something like this with Israel. But it's about place and about sharing, and it won't be about ideology only of religious. It will be also, because of Uranus, some changes that will force us to unify power or to use energies differently. So, very interesting insight. It's like even hard for me when I'm speaking and seeing all this and running and recording it to digest all this together with you. On the same time, there are much more that's jumping to my eyes, but I don't want to satur the minds of others that are not very into astrology. We're looking on Mexico. So many people are running there from the United States and speaking that in Mexico lives are more or less normal, blah, blah. But it seems that not easy timing is coming to Mexico. Saturn is going to come on Mars of Mexico in the next months after the eclipse, after the summer. And mostly we will start to see the shifts in the world from July, August, because it will be toward the full moon in Aquarius. We just had the new moon of Aquarius in this February 2021, which was a very important month. And the full moon will revolutionize and will activate all the energy of Uranus that is squaring Saturn and squared by Saturn and is in 12 degrees. And the 12 degrees is also Juno, but Mercury of Mexico is in 19 degrees with the North Node. All this is aspected by a quincunx aspect of the event of the new moon of Gemini, which is eclipse. So Mexico will be affected by the currency. The currency situation will affect significantly Mexico and sort of will break it free from the dependency by the US. That's what I feel. Like this is sort of it's a break of a structure, no doubt, and it will limit very much the flexibility that Mexico so far offered, but it may offer new resources, as Mexico has a much better resources in a natural level than the US. So it also could be abused by the US. Saturn on Mars is not enabling Mexico to do what it wants. Like something with a hammer on their head. So, and this is just few days after that Mars itself is on Saturn. See this? So this is like affecting a sort of a war, like something is happening in the neighbor country or maybe as a natural event, because also asteroid Eris chaos coming on Jupiter, very unexpected. It could be an earthquake or a volcano eruption that will create some chaoses. But as a general scenario, Mexico is not a very safe place. It has a lot of different places to hide there, but it's not a very safe place for the next 2 years. We're looking on Russia. So Russia has Mars in 19 degrees, which is the exact degree of the eclipse, together with Mercury retrograde in Gemini. So this is about war, violence, that would participate actively on on another country. And it's all related to money. And Russia has the money, has the gold. And if the war will be just related to save the USD, Russia has a much better forces here, and Russia will respond and have the power, because Mars in the 5th house and in Sagittarius, and with Chiron and Aries, this is a real driller here. And yeah, I will feel relatively safe in the East Europe, in countries that are related or close to Russia, because Russia will protect the entire area. Feels like. Okay, let's look on Saudi Arabia. Very bad. Very strong activation. Look at this. Pluto on Saturn, opposing Mars, and Mars return at the same time. This is the battle on the oil, the agreement that started in the 70s. This is real serious. Also participated of the New World Order, Saudi Arabia, 22 degrees, where Saturn and Pluto met here, which was 90 degrees to this. So what surprised us that the oil price crashed to zero in March 2020, and all the entire war to save the USD is related with this, and Pluto is in 23 degrees that was opposed by the same conjunction. This is a revolution timing about the power and the agreement of backupping the dollar with oil price. And Pluto in the 12th house will do a positive aspect with Neptune with Pluto. Oh, this is an attack, seems like an attack on Saudi Arabia. And it could be something between Saudi Arabia and Iran. And maybe Saudi Arabia with India or with the countries around it, or with Yemen. This is something very important is happening here. This is a hot spot to where to start the explosion. Let's look on Turkey. As we know, Turkey, East Europe. Something here is showing strength and end of cycle. We're speaking about Pluto and Ketu, Ketu and Pluto, and Chiron. So it was so easy in the last years that we saw the big inflation and the corruption in Turkey to affect their currency and to let them to be barely walking. But also Chiron is going to oppose the MC. So it's going to be a correction timing here, like coming up from the hashes. And it's reminding me a little bit what happened when the Spanish Empire fell and the Ottoman Empire rised from west to east. So this is very much the shift of the wheel of fortune, that people or countries that consider to be rich or to manage or to have the power now need to go down, and the places that were poor relatively are going higher. And this is the area. Also, of course, it seems that Turkey has the power to protect itself or to be protected maybe by the area of Russia. So Turkey seems to me with indeed changes in the government, but is going to rise, to go to a better place. The United Kingdom, I think we saw it already. If not, I just will say it quickly. Saturn coming on Venus. This is definitely on restriction on the money, on the pound, crash of the value of the UK economy. And Pluto with Aries. This is a chaos. This is the end of the crown. The end of the crown. This is the UK is holding the core of the capitalism. And when we want to end this, we should go to the head of it, which is sitting in the United Kingdom. We are going from kingdom to Uranus realm, which is equalism. We don't need one king to control the entire world or very big amount of population. And this is a healing timing as well that is coming, but it seems that is going to destroy automatically. This is a reset time also. Look how strong reset aspects here. Jupiter on Pluto, Saturn on Venus, Pluto on Aries. This is an economy reset completely. This is the destruction of the kingdom that is coming through the sky indication. And we're looking on the United States. I think it's the last or maybe one more left. Pluto return. The civil revolution coming back. But the US is going to initiate what should happen to save the USD that is crashing under Bitcoin explosion and rest. This is an attack on the central banks around the world. And Saturn 13 degrees, going to do a positive aspect with Saturn. This is a complete of a plan. This is North Node on Uranus coming. So they are going to surprise. They are going to surprise someone, but it's going to be painful. This is so malefic planet here. Saturn, Chiron opposing Saturn. But they are trying to correct the control, to take back the control. So I feel that the United States is going to attack. And look what we experienced since January. And I alerted about it already before 2020. That Neptune is going to do 180 degrees to Neptune of the United States, which is again in 22 degrees. This is about disease. This is about pandemic. This is about drugs and pharmaceutical issues. This was also in the First World War. So all these indications are showing one of the two, or civil revolution or a mess that the United States could do something, but it could be something from the outer world. Its cat is Rahu, North Node, on Uranus. So unexpected, so ether energy coming on it. It's very unexpected event. So when people are saying that is from God, this is something that is coming from God, but it also could come from evil power to take off. And this is also doing an opposition to Mercury, which is ruling the Federal Reserve as well. So the United States trying to save its power. It's very revolutionary. It's starting already a new cycle, the South Node, new story, and crossing the ascendant. And going to be some difficulties in the United States, not all. Maybe in the countrysides it's going to be better. But it's definitely revolution. It's definitely revolution. And we're looking on Venezuela, the last one. I spoke already in the beginning of 2020 that Venezuela ended the underdog role. And the situation of Venezuela is going to rise gradually. And Saturn is interacting already since the last month with Aries, and it seems that they are going to restructure themselves in a new way of not being dependent in the USD restriction the way they were before. And it's a positive aspect to the Sun that on the eclipse day is going to receive Venus. So Venezuela is getting a better, enjoying from the chaos in the world, and together with Argentina, together with Brazil, together with maybe other countries in the South America, and really starting here a new vision and a very positive in Venezuela. So places that were very underdog, or we consider them to be garbage, are going to grow. Check the economy of Venezuela. Venezuela is growing, and it's a rich country. It has a lot of gold, a lot of diamond, animals, food, natural resources, but they could not sell all those services because USD weren't available. So the worldwide reset imminent. And what we left to do is to be creative as possible, flexible as possible, learning new alternatives to move to the new world order, which is not the USD. We spoke already about it before. which is not the things that you considered before as running to buy apartment. No. It's going to be dust maybe in some places. It's about running for another source of values. And the nature will help us to understand it before. And immigration will be for the next years very strong between continents and places. So far, we need to move between the cracks because the North Node is in Gemini until the end of the summer. And we need to consider those draconian restrictions, how to move between places, as they are closing and limiting the ability of people to move and encouraging citizens to go back to their country, to take extra control on the people. Because people that are under tourism visa are sort of free, not compliant to the laws of the place. Right? Think about it. How you keep yourself neutral, debt-free, and rule-free. And with this, I'll let you go, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.